Hi guys, welcome to this video and welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back. So today's video is going to be a 3 looks 1 palette, of which this look I'm wearing now is one of the looks with the Certifeye Eternity Palette. This palette is playing hell with my white balance, so you'll have to forgive me if the colours keep changing in this video, but these are the beautiful colours in the palette. It's absolutely stunning. I've used it in a get ready with me, so I'll link that up in the cards for you if you want to see another look with it. And for that one I did very much a red focused look and managed to get some red out of this palette because it's not the deepest red in tone, which you'll see as I go through and do the looks, but I've created 3 looks with it. This one is the 3rd look. I've also done a more neutral look, which is the first look you're going to see, and then the second look you're going to see is a bit more pink and soft and romantic, so something in every sort of makeup style, and I've used pretty much all of the shades. So without further ado, I'll jump into the 3 looks for you. I do just want to say, however, though, that I'm still getting used to using my new setup, and I did forget to plug in my mic for the second look, so hopefully in post-production I'll be able to amplify the sound enough for you to be able to hear it, but it won't be as clear, I don't think, as the other 2 looks, so just to let you know. But hopefully you'll still get something out of it and be able to see the steps anyway. So as I say, without further ado, straight into the 3 looks, and then I'll catch up with you at the end with some final thoughts on the palette. Okay, for this look I want to go in the sort of more caramelly tones and create a neutral look, so I'm going to go with these shades and probably some of the ones at the top for this look. So I'm going to start with the shade Infatuated, which is this one here. I'm going to pack that into my crease, and I'm just using a Linda Hallberg 303 brush to do this. I'm going to take that all the way from inner to outer, and I really want the pigment to be strong sort of at the crease area and just slightly above it, because I am going to cut my crease and pack on some shimmers there, so I want to make sure that this colour can be seen when my eyes are open above the crease. And that's packing on really nicely. Just really packing the colour down at the moment rather than doing too much blending, because I'm going to use other colours to blend this out. That's given us a really nice foundation for the look now. And then I'm going to go in with the shade Darling, which is this shade here. It's a nice pinky tone brown, and I'm going to go above the Infatuated shade and use that as my blending shade. I'm keeping the shape of this kind of rounded, so I'm not winging things out at all. Just doing circular motions to make sure that I get the best blend that I can. It is quite easy when you're using neutrals to get a blend with skin. I think it's easier than when you're using the colourful shades, if I'm honest. Cut my crease all the way across from inner to outer, but not in the cut crease kind of style that a lot of people do. I'm just going to do it ovally. That's the way I can make it work for me. So I'll speed through this process because you've seen it before if you've watched my channel before. Okay, so now the lids are cut, I'm going to go in with Rapture in the outer part of my lid, and then towards the inner I'm going to go in with Passion. Really cut my entire lid so that I've got a wet base to work on to bring shimmers right into the outer corner, but you'll probably not see the distinction between the matte and the shimmer there, but just thought it would help give me a tacky base to apply that shade onto without having to go in with glitter glue. As I was already using the concealer, thought I may as well use that to help me. I'm going to take that to about 1/3 of the way in, perhaps a little bit more. This is a really nice shimmer actually, really pretty. And then I'm going to flip the brush over, as I say, and go into the shade Passion. I'm going to lay that next to the shimmer we've already laid down. It's taken me a bit of work to get this to build to full opacity. I like the effects when I've finished with Certifeye shimmers, but it does take more building than other shimmer formulas. They're quite a thin formula. And then the centre part of my lids there, I'm going to go in with Unconditional. The tone of that one is really pretty. It's like a coffee kind of latte colour, I would describe it, and it's blending perfectly with the other two shades that are there. It's really nice together with them. Just to make sure I haven't lost, which I have lost, the shadow there, I'm just going to go back in with the Darling shade, I think. I think if we went in with Unconditional it would be too dark there, so I'm going to go back in with Darling. Bring a bit more shadow there, just to accentuate the line of that cut crease just a little. My lower lash line, I'm going to go in close to my lashes with this shade, which is Heartthrob. Just taking that on a flat definer brush and just pressing that really close to my lower lash line. Use this look in my Get Ready With Me. I'll link that video for you if you want to see. But I really do love this shade. It's quite transformative. It brings out the red in other shadows and one of the best shades in the palette in my opinion. So it's going to feature in a lot of the looks, I think. When I get into my inner corners, I'm just going to angle it down slightly just to create a slightly false inner corner. Nothing too crazy though. Then just into the shade Darling, just to blend out under there. And for that little bit of inner corner I've created there, I'm going to go in with the shimmer shade there, Touch. And in my waterline I'm going in with Urban Decay's 24/7 liner in Heartless. Mascara today is Bad Girl Bang by Benefit. And then for lips today I'm going in with Campfire by Dose of Colours. And then I put some earrings in because I realised I didn't have any in for the whole of this tutorial. But here's the final look for this one, which is warm and toasty and a little bit fiery as well. Hope you like it. Yeah, this is look number 1. For this look I want to play a lot more in the pink zone, so I'm going to be using this row and then probably touch as my lid shade. So I'm going to start the look off with Cupid, and I've not set my base. I've used the MAC Painterly paint pot as I generally do, and I'm going to build a shape in the outer corner using that Cupid shade. And an angled brush to achieve it. And I'm going to bring it across my crease and down, but not completely all the way to the corner. I want to do quite an open kind of front here. I don't want to close my eyes in too much. So at the moment I'm just building up the shape. I'm not worrying about too much how it looks, how blended it looks, etc. I'm just literally laying down the foundations to work with, which if I'm not using tape I find the easiest way to go to get more of that precise corner. Now that we've laid that down, I'm going into Love Struck and I'm going to start building a bit more intensity into my crease and into this outer corner area. And I'm just packing that on in that outer corner at the moment to really get the pigment to be strong there. Not getting any fallout, which is really good. So I'm just pressing that pigment in, as I say, and then I'm going to start blending that through my crease. And I don't need to worry too much about what's going on my lids because I'm going to be covering that up with shimmers anyway. Now I'm going back in with that Cupid shade, the original shade that we started with, and just starting to build up some intensity of that colour and also start to blend it out as well. To blend it, I've got quite a skinny fluffy brush. I'm just going to use just to blend above it there. And then back in with the deeper of the two pinks, the Love Struck shade. Packing a bit more of that on. So I'm just really going backwards and forwards until I've got the strength of pigment that I want in the outer corner. And then to blend up to my brow bone, I'm going to go in with the shade Everlasting. Taking a tiny touch of that on that blending brush I was using to blend there. Just literally touch my brush to the pan with that shade. I just want to use that just as a blending shade just to go up to my brow really. And I don't want the colour to be too strong with that in this look. It's a beautiful salmony pink and I think it would look lovely in a look, but I don't want it too prominent in this look because I want to keep this look more in the pink zone. I might take that Everlasting shade down a little bit further into my crease actually, just to give us a blend there so it doesn't just stop. And then I'm going to apply some NYX glitter primer to my lids. I'm focusing that more on the front part of my lid towards my nose. So for this one, the whole of my lid, I'm going to go in with Touch. Really pretty on its own. I've used it in the first look just very sparingly in my inner corner, and I hadn't realised quite how gorgeous this is, and it's bringing out the pigment in these shimmers, putting them over glitter glue. So I think if you want to get full opacity without having to work too hard, that's kind of the way to go. So I'm not doing this too precise, not a cut crease or anything like that, but I am focusing it just on the front part of my eyelid there. Just wrapping that a little bit around my inner corners as well to make it my inner corner highlight. And then I'm going to go back in with Love Struck, and I'm going to pack that over it, but in a sort of dragging motion to blend that shimmer into the matte in the corner. Where those meet, I'm just going to go back in with a bit more of the shimmer. I'm just trying to get a blend between the shimmer and the matte there. We don't have a pink shimmer in the palette, which would have been nice. We've only really got orangey tones or creamy tones of shimmers in this palette, or a brown, so trying to almost make one by blending those two shades together a little bit. Okay, just to make everything as seamless as possible, I've got a brush with no additional product here, and I'm just going over the top where the shimmer meets the matte and just blending those together. I'm going to keep this look pink and romantic, so I'm going to go in with Woodstock by Urban Decay in my waterline. And then for my lower lashes, I'm going back in with Love Struck. Lower lashes, lower lash line, I mean. Using my Urban Decay Angled Lip Brush 301 to do this. I want to keep it quite tight to the lower lash line. And I'm meeting it up with the outer corner there. Now the tiny little pencil brush, I'm just going to blend underneath there just to make sure there's no harsh lines. There's no product on the brush, I'm just using that as a blending brush. So that's pretty much the look. I'm just going to pop on some mascara and choose a lip for the look. For lips today, I'm going to go in with Kat Von D Studded Lip in Sanctuary. And that's the finished look for look number 2. Okay, for this look I'm going to go in with New Flame, so I'm going to be using that and more of the peachy tones. I'm going to do an all matte look. So I'm going to start with New Flame on my lower lash line and start building from the lower lash line and out. I'm using an E45 from Sigma to do this because it's got a nice point to it, but it's still a fluffy brush because I want a very diffused but winged out shape in the outer corner. I'm using the lower lash line to give me a guide as to the angle to go out. And then going in with the fluffy side of an Anastasia brush. Any fluffy blending brush would do this job really well. I'm going to join up the dots as it were, so take that out to the outer corner and into my inner corner. At the moment I'm keeping it a very light touch, just the lightest amount of pigment until I've got the shape down, and then I'm going to build it up more. I'm going to swap back to my more pointed brush just to give me some more control, because I seem to have a different shape on this side than this side. So just going to sort that out. I'm extending way beyond my natural sort of brow line. I want this to be exaggerated in the outer corner. The mattes in this palette have been the stars of the show for me. The tones are beautiful. Take a bit of building, but the pigment's definitely there. The shade Everything and a JS6 brush, I'm going to go into this part, taking the very lightest touch of that. I'm going to build as I go, and I'm going to extend that almost like down my nose a little bit and up to my brow a little bit there. Really just light pressure and just a shading of that colour really. And just where that meets the brow there, I'm just going to blend that in a bit using that shade which is called Treasure. At the very tip of my brow arch there, I am going to use a shimmer. I'm going to go in with Touch. Now I want to get a bit more intensity into this pink, so I'm going to go in with the shade Adore. I've got a JS12 here. Just going to pack that into my outer corner and sort of blending into that V shape that we've created, but not all the way out. So just layering over the top to give me a little bit more strength in that colour. Okay, and then for my lid shade I'm going to use Everlasting. I'm using an exact blend E32 because it's picking up quite a bit of colour, but allowing me to blend it into the shades that we've already laid down, because I don't want this to be a cut crease, but I do want my lid to be a lot more vivid than the outer corner. So I'm just packing that on and blending it out. And I'm flipping the brush over and going in with Love Story, and I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a pop in the centre with that, just to lighten it even more. In with the shade Everything that we started with, our really light pink shade, just to make everything seamless in the front portion there. Okay, so that's everything for shadows, so I'm just going to put something in my waterline now. I think I'm just going to leave it very neutral in my waterline. I'm just going to use Heartless by Urban Decay. For the fun part, I'm going to do a wing liner with the Epic Ink Liner by NYX, out into this shape, not all the way, but out into this shape, and kind of meeting up with the lower lash a little bit there. And then from where that black eyeliner is sort of wrapping in that corner, Going to go in with Heartthrob, my favourite shade in the palette, and intensify my lower lash line to meet up with that line. As that fades towards the inner corner, I'm going to go a bit more red, so I'm going to go in with a door there. And I'm going to use Touch as an inner corner highlight. And then mascara is Bad Girl Bang. Right, for lips with this look, I'm going to clash the pink and the red. I thought that might be fun. So I'm going in with Hexagram by Kat Von D Studded Kiss lipstick. And here's the finished look for this one. Okay guys, so what did you think? Hope you enjoyed seeing the looks, and I'd love to know which one is your favourite. Hands down, today's is my favourite. I love, on myself personally, the winged out shape. I just think it suits me personally, but I love just playing with my eye shape and doing different kinds of looks, cut creases, more rounded sort of shapes and whatnot. So thought I'd do all sorts of looks with the palette just to show what can be done with it, and used both shimmers and mattes in different creative ways, and that's what I've hoped to achieve with this video for you. So my thoughts on the palette then. So the shimmers, the shade Passion was probably my favourite shimmer, but Touch really surprised me. So in the second look, Over Glitter Glue as a lid shade looked absolutely stunning. The shade Unconditional is the other shimmer in the palette, and that one is very caramel in tone. And then you've got Rapture, which is a bit more of a neutral brown shimmer, I would say. Not so much my favourite, and not one that I would use very much. So I think definitely Passion is my favourite. The shimmer formula in this palette is, and all Certifeye shimmers in my opinion, are a bit more sheer and they need building up. And with Glitter Glue, it definitely works better. So you saw me in the first look applying them over a tacky concealer base for a cut crease, and I don't think I got the vibrancy that I got in the second look when I used the Glitter Glue. So the Glitter Glue definitely amplifies the shimmer in these and brings out the intensity. So if you are going to buy this, bear that in mind. I think if you use them dry, you'll be really disappointed with the shimmers. They are quite lackluster used on their own, but over a Glitter Glue they do work really, really well. The mattes, however, I absolutely love the matte formula from Certifeye. It's one of my favourites. It's buildable and pigmented, but it's really got no fallout. I mean, this look is quite intense, as you can see, and you'll see, or you have seen in the, and you've seen in the tutorial that I didn't have any fallout. I did build it up bit by bit, but even so, colours as vivid as this normally have fallout, and this had none. So that's great. I think when I first looked in the palette, the shade Lovebug looked really red to me, and Adore looks really red, and they're not as red and intense on the eyes as they might appear. but you've got Heartthrob here, which looks like a brown, but is a reddish brown, and it's a great deepening shade to transform those pinky reds into true reds, which if you do watch my Get Ready With Me, you'll see what I'm talking about there, because I applied those shades and then found that they weren't as intense, no more on the pinky side of red, and then adding that colour totally changed the game. The pinks are just so beautiful, and I think the neutrals give it that extra versatility, so you can create a multitude of looks out of this, and they build it as just a neutral palette, and I think this is why a lot of people didn't pick it up, because I don't see much hype around this palette. My friend Nikki Raven has done multiple looks with this palette. I can't wait to watch. I knew I was going to buy the palette after she started talking about it, and I've seen one look with it, I think, but I haven't watched her multiple looks because I didn't want my view to be swayed on the palette. So dying to see those as well. So if you want more inspiration of how to use this palette, I'll link Nikki's channel below so that you can catch some more tutorials using the palette as well. But I think if it came out at a different time of year, I think this would have done really well, and I would have billed it as a Valentine's palette. You've got all the romantic pinks and reds you might need, and then you've got sort of the more neutral half of the palette as well. And I think that's one thing that's great about the Certifeye palettes, is that you've normally got a sort of section, like if you cover that, then that's a neutral palette more, and then you've got the really intense sort of pinks and whatever there. So you've got lots of scope. They're small pans, but you've got a lot of shades. So you've got 18 shades in the palette. So I think I paid 32 for this. So it's either 30 or 32 because their palettes do vary in cost. And for that, I think, you know, you're paying less than £2 a shade for quality like this. I think it's a no-brainer if you like the shades that are in it. Overall, it's definitely approved by me. I will be reaching into this one a lot because these are my kind of tones. I love reds and I love pinks, and I love a red and pink together, as you can see. I think the red lipstick plays nicely off of the pink eyes. So let me know down in the comments, guys. Are you planning to pick this up? Have you even seen this palette? Do you know about it? But are you going to pick it up? And which of the 3 looks were your favourite? I'd love to know that as well. But other than that, guys, that brings us to the end of this 3 looks 1 palette video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here and you like what you see, I'd love it if you would consider to subscribe before you go. But other than that, catch you in tomorrow's video. Bye.